Hey there, it's Carrie Rhodes here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I am making some fun things with a paper pad from the Not Too Shabby shop. I'm going to be making some little paper tote bags with handles that move like a pail, and also a bonus project, a shaker card. So first I wanted to show you the paper pads I'll be using. This is a walk in my garden and the spring watercolor papers. This is the paper pad of the month for March 2024. This is the add-on ephemera kit that you can get with those paper pads if you choose to do so. I'm also going to be sharing with you their March 2024 stamp and die of the month. I'm using all three of these in today's projects, so it's going to be super cute. We're going to do some techniques with our ephemera. We're also going to be kind of playing with different ways to use the pattern paper in making these bags, and also like dressing up your pattern paper. So for project number one, we're creating the tote. I'm using these two pieces of paper, same pattern from that Walk in My Garden paper pad. I'm putting them back to back. This is a directional paper, so I want to make sure my pattern is face up, and I'm going to put these in the paper cutter at the same time, cut off the side, so now my paper is 5 by 6 inches. I'm going to keep these pieces for decoration, and I'm going to trim them down to 5 inches so they can decorate the top of my bag. All right, then I'm going to score both of these pieces at 5" at the bottom of the bag. So make sure if it's directional, you're scoring at the bottom. For the handle of this bag, I'm going to cut it to 1" by 10 inches, and that'll give me the handle that's the same width as my bag. And that is, you know, kind of sturdier when it's a little bit thicker. Okay, then we need some side panels. The side panels are going to be 5.5 inches by 2 inches. So they are both going to be the same size, two pieces that are 5.5 by 2 inches. We're also going to score those, and you want to score them on the long side at 1/2 inch and 1.5 inches. Then we're going to rotate that and score at the bottom at 5 inches. So 3 scored lines. Repeat that on the second piece. Then we need to take out those little corner pieces. So we're just going to snip them. You can see I'm snipping them at an angle. This makes it so much easier to put a bag or a box together when you do that. I'm even trimming just a hair off the top at an angle. So they're both now going to look just like this. Now for those top pieces, I'm just going to lay that on there as a reference point. I also folded on my scored line of the main piece of the bag, and then I'm putting a circle on there to cut a window through here. This is just optional, but it's also really fun. My circle was about 3 inches. Next, I am doing a cover for the window. You could leave it completely open, but I used some rip and stick tape there and added on a piece of lace, which I recently used in another card and I loved it so much, and I had it out, so I decided to cover my window with lace. Then I also backed it with a window sheet so it would stay nice and sturdy and not come off as easily. Okay, I also like layering on my project. So I'm taking the circle die that I used to create the opening and 1/4 of an inch bigger to create a frame around my window. And it really just draws your eye in, kind of dresses it up a little bit. Speaking of dressing things up, I am obsessed with this tiny scallop die, which is from Trinity Stamps. It is part of a die that cuts a curtain for a stage, but it's this tiny baby scallop and I love it and I use it a lot. I kind of keep it out because I like to use it, and I'm putting those as a little extra layer behind those top pieces that'll decorate my bag. I am now piercing holes at the top of my side panels in the center and in the ends of the handle. That's how I'm going to attach the handle, but I need to do that first. That last frame, I just showed you where to put your rip and stick tape on the bottom of one of your bag pieces, on both flaps, the side flaps of your side panels, and that tiny little bottom flap of the side panel. Now I'm attaching my side panel here to one of the bag pieces as well as the bottom flap, just like that, and I'm going to repeat that on the second bag piece. So they're both going to have a side piece, and they're both going to be put partially together. And then I can take both of those pieces and sandwich them together. So when you're putting this together, you kind of want to put the side panel onto the bag piece so it is identical to the one you just did, because you're going to flip that over and put them together. So it might seem opposite of what you want to do, but just trust me, it works. So then when you sandwich these together, you can line up the side panel with the edge of your front and back pieces, and then again press the bottom together. So once I get this where I want it, to really press those panels and flaps together, I like to use a crease tool so I can reach down in there and just burnish it. It's going to stick together very nicely. Okay, so there's our little bag box with a window. We're next going to add the handle with some brads. And the reason why I did this is so that it can move back and forth, kind of like a pail or a bucket, and then you could access what's inside the bag or fill the bag as well. So you can move that forward and back, and it's just kind of a fun little feature. And my idea for this is to fill it with some seed packs. So I thought I would use the coordinating stamp set and stamp out some seed packs and a birdhouse. I already had some of the trowels and flower stamp from my previous project I did with these, some tags. And then I used one of the ephemera pieces to stamp "Each day is a new beginning." Now we're going to color all the things. I'm using some Copic markers, but these images are so tiny. The coloring is very simple. Colored it in with my E27 marker, accented it with my E47 marker. I'll come back to that one and color the roof silver or gray. And for my seed packs, I went kind of bold, and in hindsight, I think I might have colored them a little bit softer colors, a little less of the brightest color on these packs, so they would kind of coordinate better with the bag, but also they're very representational of the real thing. So yeah, I'm torn on that. So let me know what you think of my seed packs in the comments below. Okay, I've colored them up so they have a like dark tone and a lighter tone of the same color, and that it's just really an easy way to color them up. There's no blending, but you know, do you and what you like. Okay, for the trowels and the roof, I'm using my C4 and C2 markers to create that kind of silvery look. Then I will take the dies for all the things and die cut them out, and they're ready to go. They're very cute. Okay, for assembly, I am bringing in a couple pieces of ephemera, the flower and the hat, which, by the way, on the flower, I trimmed off some of that white space. It was just felt a little bit too big, and trimming some of that white off really helped. I used an X-Acto knife to cut into that flower pot, tucked my seed packs in and my little trowel, and then I'm attaching the sentiment how I want it to go when it's on the bag. I laid it there so I could figure out exactly where I want to put the little birdhouse. I just like laying things out, figuring out my layout before really committing and gluing something down. I kind of play with it first, and it saved me a lot of heartache. So there it is, all assembled into like a little grouping. Then I added some foam tape because dimension is life. I love it. So I popped that up on the front of the bag, and now I'm adding a little bit of shading with some Copic markers onto my ephemera pieces just to kind of brighten them up so they coordinate well with the brighter colors I have going on with my seed packs and everything. And I thought it really helped kind of tie it all together a little bit, and also help this ephemera piece kind of stand out more from that background, and I like how it turned out. So that is a technique. I'm going to kind of use that idea on the shaker card, which is my bonus project for this video. I attached the hat with some foam squares as well, and there you can see the handle moving forward and back so you can easily get into the bag itself. All right, here's a second bag I made where I backed the window with some printed vellum, and I also kept it a little bit more simple. I didn't do the little scallops under the top. I put my sentiment up there. It's just really fun to customize these however you like. And if you want to do that, I have a PDF tutorial just for my members. I just started members on my channel. It's a very small amount, but it helps, promote my channel and my time that I put into this and make it easier for you to recreate these, because you're going to have step-by-step instructions as well as pictures to have right beside you as you create these projects. So I hope that you will do that. If you have questions about it, let me know in the comments below. You can find the link for membership information in the description box below. Okay. Let's move on to our bonus card. So I'm making a shaker card, but I'm really going to have a lot of fun with colored pencils on this project. Okay, so I picked out one of the ephemera pieces, This is a very like shabby chic kind of style in these, don't you think? Like the colors and the style, it's just very soft. And I thought I wanted to try my hand at adding a little color and maybe texture to these with my colored pencils. I had added some shading to the ephemera piece on my previous project with Copic markers. So I was like, let's like really go for that idea, but with colored pencils. So that's what I'm doing here on the fence, taking some brown colored pencils and just adding like a little darker color to that. I am going to use more than one color and kind of do a blend. And when I'm coloring with my colored pencils, and what I have found is that adding very light layers is the key to good blending with colored pencils. Just adding one layer, then the next, and maybe going back. And that gave me the look that I wanted for the fence. It really darkened it up. And then I decided for these pots, some of them were a really light tan color. I thought, let's make them look more terracotta with some browns and reds, and I love how that turned out. One little tip also that I did is to take my blending stump, which is like rolled up paper, and just rub that along the coloring, and it really softens and spreads out the color and blends it together. So I love how that turned out. Some of the pots had more of a gray tone, so I thought, let's do some green. That would look really cool. So I had some like olivey color pencils, and that really dressed up these pots. It's probably my favorite part of this coloring. I love how the pots turned out, but I added a little color, a little brighter color to every image on here, and it was just so much fun to do and really easy. Like I felt I got a really great result with very little effort. It's almost like no line coloring, but like the Cliff Note version. Like it's already colored for you. But also these images, the line on them is very light, very subtle, very painterly. And so it's almost like no line coloring in that way as well. So we're just adding a little shading in there. And I thought it was really fun and relaxing to do, but I love coloring. So finding different ways to use my colored pencils and, different things I can do with my ephemera, because you get so many ephemera pieces. Maybe you want some of them to look a little different than the last thing that you made. So this is a really fun way to do that. I even added little dots of brighter pink to the little pink flowers in the pot, and there's also a yellowish, or it was kind of a cream colored flower, but I made it more yellow. So totally fun to do. And another thing that I added to this that wasn't there that I thought really helped bring it to life was adding a little bit of gray colored pencil to create a shadow. Oh, I love how that turned out. So here you can see me doing that. It's very subtle, but it adds that little extra something. So I am very pleased with how this turned out. I think it really dressed it up, gave it a whole nother vibe than the original version. So that's just fun. All right, I added a few dark lines to my fence in the end, and then I wanted to show you the color pencil version versus the original, which I made on this tag, which I used on this tag, and I have a video on that too. I'll link for you below if you hadn't catch my tag video. Okay, for the card, I am taking one piece of paper from the watercolor panel or set and one from the garden set. And those are pieces that I had previously used. They're kind of scraps from my tags. So I love doing that. But one of them I had die cut a circle in to create the tag, and I thought that would make a really great shaker card. So I cut it down to fit the front of my A2 size card, and now I'm going to kind of create my own background paper while building onto this background paper, which is a watercolor panel. Great kind of paper to stamp on and make your own background paper. Really fun because it's got, variation in the background. But, I'm all about colored pencils on this card. So I'm going to add just like a little dusting of color to these seed packets. You saw I stamped all three in a row. I did it with like a dark mossy green, so it would kind of bring out some greens in that ephemera piece that I did. And then around the like actual picture on the seed pack, I'm doing a little bit darker pink, so it's just a shade darker than the background. And then the final thing, like this is one of those things, I always say love is in the details. The shadow around the seed packet is that detail that makes the love on this card. And the background, oh my gosh, it is my favorite. I love how it turned out. Okay, so let's build our shaker. putting glue around my opening, then a window sheet, let that dry, set for a minute, and then take my foam tape and I'm going to create a reservoir for my shaker bits. So that is foam tape that touches on all the sides so none of those shaker bits will escape when this card is shaken. I added a little anti-static powder. Also, I don't like my shaker bits to like stick to everything, so I love doing that. It just helps them move more freely and not obstruct the view if you know, have something you want to be seen under there. I'm removing the back on all my foam tape, adding that second piece of pattern paper, which is very subtle. I love subtle background paper. I love simple patterns. So there is my shaker. I added those are gold confetti shaker bits. They're from Trinity. They're flat. They're awesome. All right, I put a frame around my window like I did on my bag, and then I added my ephemera piece popped up with foam squares so it just kind of hangs out over that window a little bit. I'm adding this to an A2 size card base, so it was an 11-inch piece of paper by 4 1/4 inches, scored at 5 1/2, and I've got that nice white border all the way around my card front panel, which is my favorite. I love a white border. All right, I am adding a little shading to these already stamped sentiments. When I made my tags, I stamped out the sentiment because it was my favorite. Love grows here. Stamped it out multiple times, so I have leftovers for making future projects. I'm going to die cut that out with the coordinating die and add that to my card as well. I am going to pop it up. I love dimension and texture on my cards. All right, I also love the little bird. The little bird from the stamp set, there's actually two, I think is so cute. A fun little, you know, like love is in the details. This is a lovebird. It's going to sit right on my fence and just add that extra little something. And by the way, because I'm coloring this with colored pencils, the look of this bird is going to really coordinate well with my ephemera piece that I colored with colored pencils. So totally fun project to do, finding different ways I can use my colored pencils, which sometimes can collect dust, if I'm going to be honest. So I was happy to pull them out and use them in different ways today. I'm adding some baubles that have a bronzy finish to them, and you know, details. I love embellishments, so let me know what you think of embellishments as well. So there's my card. It coordinates pretty well with my tags, even if I did brighten it up a little bit. And I feel like I've got my card, I've got my tags, I've got my gift bags. Like the tags are going to fit really well inside my gift bag, and the card does too. And I'm going to get some seed packs and give them as little gifts with the card, of course, and then maybe the tags could go in the bag to somebody else with some seed packs. So I think it's just a really fun grouping of products from Not Too Shabby this month, because I am so ready to start planting my garden. It's just now the end of March, but pretty soon I'm going to be getting my hands dirty, planting some probably cucumbers and things. I can't wait. I am new to gardening. I just started last year, so it's still very exciting to me and I love it. So those are the projects for today. If you want the PDF tutorial to make the bags, all the measurements and step-by-step photos, it is for members. There's a link to members below. You can print that out and work right alongside with it. I so appreciate you guys for watching my videos, for taking time to like them, share them with your friends. It means so much to me. I appreciate you. Happy stamping. I'll see you on the next one.